Now, we will study Gauss divergence theorem, which relate domain integral, which is the integral on entire domain, with boundary integral. In 2D, if your domain is this, then this is your boundary gamma. Similarly, in 3D, for a 3D domain omega, we have 2D curved surface gamma as boundary. There are different statement of Gauss divergence theorem. We will try to get one framework of all the statements. Let us see them one by one. Suppose we have gradient of a scalar valued function phi on domain omega, then we can write it. This is related with the boundary integral phi n t gamma. Here you can see this is a vector, this is also a vector. Now, in indicial notation, we can write it because E I is not function of x I, we can take it inside the differentiation, and in next step we can write phi E I n I. So, this step is obtained for Gauss divergence theorem. Another statement which again if we expand in indicial notation, we will see the similar pattern. So, this is the Gauss divergence statement. So, you can see del del xi become Ey ni, the same pattern. This is another statement. Again epsilon I, j k and E I are not function of coordinate x. So, we can write this, and in next step using Gauss divergence theorem, n j, because it is x j, So, Nj. So, this is nothing but N cross U. So, again the similar pattern, but every time you have to ensure that this del xj is over the entire integrand. Few more statement, here it is a second order tensor. So, we can write it in indicial notation because Ei and Ej they do not depend on x. So, we can write now using Gauss divergence theorem Nj, because it is del xj thus you can see every time among this 4 statement we have used the same logic. We first express the del xj over the entire integrand, then we have replaced del xj by Nj using Gauss divergence theorem, while we are going from domain integral to boundary integral. So, these are the step where we have used Gauss divergence theorem. In first statement, this is the step where we have used Gauss divergence theorem. Second statement, this is the step. In third one, from here to here, and here again we have used Gauss divergence theorem in this step, while we are going from domain integral to boundary integral. Now, we will see application of Gauss divergence theorem while we derive variational statement from the governing differential equation for heat transfer problem. Let me first write the differential equations which govern the heat transfer. Now, the first equation is the governing differential equation in some domain omega, and the boundary of the domain can have two parts. One is gamma t, where temperature is prescribed, and it can be gamma q, where heat flux is prescribed, or there can be convective heat transfer like this. So, on gamma q we have boundary condition in terms of del T dot n. So, this is the Neumann boundary condition and this is the Dirichlet boundary condition. So, when we have directly on temperature, that is our Dirichlet boundary condition, and when heat flux is prescribed, then it is Neumann boundary condition. Now, our domain can be 2D area which is covered by boundary curve gamma, or it can be 3D domain with boundary surface. Now, from this governing differential equation we will derive the variational statement. So, as we know, we can multiply with the variation Now, because our dependent variable temperature is a scalar variable, so variation is also a scalar. Now, we can write this first term here. Temperature is scalar, gradient of temperature is vector. So, we can write in indicial notation this term is nothing but dot product of two gradient. Then our equation 1 we can write as the first term this heat transfer problem will be described in details in 2D finite element method. Here I am just explaining the application of Gauss divergence theorem. Now, to this term we can apply Gauss divergence theorem. Here one important point to note, we have to express that del xi over the whole integrand. So, here it is over the whole integrand. In the first, at the starting it was only on k delta t. So, in order to apply Gauss divergence theorem, we have to express in such a way that del xi should be over whole integrand. So, on this term, using Gauss divergence theorem we can write Ni T gamma. So, at this step we apply Gauss divergence theorem. Now, this gamma consists of two parts. One is the Dirichlet boundary condition where temperature T is prescribed, and another one gamma cube. Now, on gamma T, your dependent variable is prescribed, hence the variation will be 0. So, this boundary term will vanish on gamma T, whereas on gamma Q this K delta T dot N can be replaced as Qn, which is prescribed heat flux convective heat transfer. So, on gamma Q we replace this K delta T dot N with this quantity because of this boundary condition. Finally, on gamma T your V will be 0. So, this is our final variational statement. So, here one important thing to note, we have started with strong form where there is second derivative over dependent variable T. Using Gauss divergence theorem, we have distributed the derivative between variation and dependent variable. As you can see on this term, both are first order derivative, and also we have taken care the boundary term, that is these boundary conditions on two boundaries, and I have taken this H t on left hand side, so that our left hand side has both dependent variable and variation, whereas our right hand side is known, which consists of the known heat generation rate, heat flux rate, and this T infinity is your ambient temperature. You will know about all these variable in more details where heat transfer analysis will be done. Now, we will apply Gauss divergence theorem in structural analysis. While we will derive the variational statement, we will use the Gauss divergence theorem. Let me first write the governing differential equation in tensor form. So, this is the governing differential equation in domain omega, where tau is stress tensor, this is one second order tensor, B is body force per unit mass, rho is density. Here divergence of a second order tensor is a vector which is added to rho B. So, this is one vector equation. Now, stress tensor is related with strain tensor by fourth order constitutive tensor. So, these two are second order tensor, whereas this C is fourth order constitutive tensor, where in linear elasticity strain tensor is related with displacement as this relation. So, in linear elasticity, that is in small strain elasticity, we relate strain with displacement by this relation, where gradient of a vector which is the displacement vector, this is your a second order tensor. In structural problem, we have also boundary condition. Sometime your displacement u is prescribed. This is Dirichlet boundary condition. Sometime we have external load vector related with the stress tensor with this relation, that is T equal to tau n, where T is traction vector, n is normal to the surface. So, this is Neumann boundary condition. The entire boundary gamma can be divided in two parts, gamma u and gamma t. On gamma u, displacement is prescribed, and on gamma t, traction is prescribed. Professor Banerjee will explain more elaborately while solving problem in 2 dimension. In this part, I will just explain how to get the variational statement from this governing differential equation using Gauss divergence theorem. So, if we write the variational statement, on domain omega, where V is variation of u. V is also a vector. So, the variational statement can be written as dot product between these two vectors. Now, we will use indicial notation for further steps. So, we can write V dot as Vi which can be written this is using divergence of second order tensor relation. Now, we can further write this expression as del xj of this whole quantity minus we have used nothing but the product rule. Then we can write this equation as I first wrote that V dot rho b, then this term V dot divergence of tau we can replace with this expression. Equal to 0. So, we have used this relation. Now, we can apply Gauss divergence theorem to this term. You remember, in order to apply Gauss divergence theorem, we have to express the entire term in the bracket. The del xj should be operated on the entire integrand, then only we can apply Gauss divergence theorem. We cannot apply Gauss divergence theorem on this because here del xj is only tau ij. So, we have used product rule so that we get this term where we can apply Gauss divergence theorem. So, Vi tau ij nj d gamma. So, in this step we are using Gauss divergence theorem, and the remaining term can be written as it is. Now, this is our boundary term. So, on gamma u, your u is prescribed, so variation will be 0. Whereas on gamma t, we have the relation t equal to tau n. So, if we write in indicial notation, this is Ti equal to tau ij nj. So, we can apply this relation directly on this term. So, we write first term as it is, so on gamma u this is 0. So, only gamma which is non-zero, that is gamma t, Vi Ti, because tau I j n j is Ti, and this term we can write as inner product of this del V and tau. Now if we rearrange the term, we keep this term on one side. So this double dot is inner product between two second order tensor. This is the body force term and this is your traction vector on gamma t. So this is the final variational statement where we have taken care all the boundary condition. So you can understand, in order to take care this boundary condition, we have to use Gauss divergence theorem, and for that purpose we have to express the entire integrand over that del xj, and for that purpose we have used this product rule. Thus we have understood how Gauss divergence theorem is used in structural analysis to derive the variational statement. In order to understand tensor calculus in more details, you can study this book by Professor C.S. Joe. Here the first chapter of this book does detailed discussion on tensor algebra and tensor calculus. These are all necessary stuff of indicial notation, differentiation of tensor, Gauss divergence theorem, which will be required to understand finite element analysis in 2 dimension and 3 dimension. Thank you.